What is up, Rave Raid fam? Welcome to another episode of the Rave Raid podcast with your host, Tyler Hardy. And as always, I just want to take a moment to express my overwhelming love and gratitude for each and every single one of you guys who tune in on a daily and weekly basis to talk about all things Rave Raid, self-improvement, spirituality, psychedelics, biohacking, everything that's important to us here at Rave Raid to help you become the most self-loved and self-actualized version of yourself that you can possibly be, because the world needs your gift now more than ever, and we're just here to assist you in any way that we can, whether it's our supplements or the podcast or anything that we're doing. We just want to help you become a better version of yourself, so then that way we can fix some of these problems that we're experiencing as a collective on this planet. So hopping into today's episode, I want to talk about time. And I want to talk about the importance of owning your time and the importance of making sure that you are consciously choosing where you're placing your energy. Because the byproduct of not doing this, I will explain in my life experience, and I think you'll really start to see the difference in, the quality outcomes of your life when you really start putting your time and energy and focus and awareness into how and who you're spending your time on and what you're spending your time on a daily basis. So hopping into it here, when I was younger, I would say due to traumas, which I've spoken on previous podcasts, I definitely disassociated and checked out from my reality. That the fight or flight, became my default mode network, and that's who I was on a daily basis. And it led to me essentially running a program subconsciously where I wasn't really choosing for myself what it was that I wanted to do, who I wanted to do it with, why I wanted to do it or not do it. I just kind of went with the flow and, blended in with my environment. And that's another, common thing that people do who experience traumas or, different things when they're younger, is they blend into their environment in order to receive love, acceptance, and validation. And so as a result of that, there's a lot of things that I allowed to happen in my life, and a lot of things that I put off doing or, chose to do what everyone else was doing and got similar results to what everyone else was getting as well. And so as I've, really started to focus on my time and my energy and who I place my time with and where I place my time in the business and where I, put my focus in my friends and, what I do in my free time, all these different things, it's really started to allow me to become much more aware and cognizant and be able to channel and focus a lot more of my energy towards the things that actually are conducive for a high quality existence, from my perspective. And so, kind of talking more about what it was like when I was younger, if you are one of those people who, don't make decisions for themselves easily or are afraid of making the wrong decision or fear of messing up or have this perfectionistic mentality, which is something that I definitely had when I was younger, it really hinders you in so many ways. And it's something that I just really think that, stems from something much deeper than just the action itself. So it's really getting back down to the root cause of why you are the way that you are. And, you do that through giving yourself the time and space and allowing yourself to heal. And that's something that I didn't allow myself to do for a long time, which was just give myself that time to heal, to give myself the energy to heal, to give myself the ability to become, introspective and reflective on what it was that, is causing me to be checked out and disassociated in a lot of ways. And, I think a lot more people deal with that than you realize. And, you might say, hey, we live in a free country, I get to make my choices. We do get to live in a free country, and there are a lot of abilities to make free choices. I get to wake up and do this every day, and I get to wake up and do anything that I really want to do on a daily basis. And I'm super grateful for that. It's something that a lot of people in other countries don't get the opportunity to say, amidst all the things that are going on in our country. It's one of those things where you still get to make a choice. And if you give your power away to other people and circumstances and situations, then it doesn't give you the ability to take back your time and consciously choose where I'm putting my time, where I'm putting my effort, where I'm putting my energy, who I'm placing my time, effort, and energy with. And so when you don't make those decisions for yourself, I can tell you one thing: someone else will make those decisions for you, either through, consciously or unconsciously doing it to you. And what I mean by that is, if you're easily susceptible and easily impressionable, then there's a high likelihood that you are going to be convinced to do things that are not of your highest good. You're going to be, swayed to believe certain things that may not be true. and you're not being the gatekeeper of your own mind and your own potential, and seeing out that, you're looking out for your own highest good. And if you have, traumas or something that you've experienced when you were younger, where you live in a very destructive mindset and a not self-loving mindset, then it's easy to be convinced to do things that aren't of your highest good. And that's something that I experienced a lot of, a lot of self-sacrificing, a lot of, destructive patterns and habits and qualities, because I didn't think that I was worthy of that love. I didn't think that I was worthy of giving myself the time. And it played out in all my life experiences. And I'm trying to, encourage you to not allow that to happen, because at the end of the day, you're the one who's allowing that to happen. You're the one who's allowing, people to take advantage of you. You're allowing experiences to not be what they could be because of your unwillingness to commit, or your, lack of boundaries, or whatever it is that you're currently dealing with in your life. It's just one of those things where it's really important to know that you're the one who ultimately gets to decide, and you're ultimately the one who gets to choose, what it is that you place your time and energy on. And something that's been a big shift for me as of late is, as I've owned a business and, we work on RAVER AIDE every day, it's getting busier and busier, which I'm super grateful for. But there's this moment of honesty where it's like I have to be transparent with myself and say, okay, this is going to require more and more of me, more and more attention, more and more focus. And what are you willing to step away from? What are you willing to let go of? So then that way that energy can take that place. And again, it's me consciously choosing where I'm placing my time, my effort, my energy, my resources, the people that I, associate with. It's becoming more and more clear what's going to get me where we want to go and what isn't. And as a result of that, it allows me to make those decisions, which, touches back on a different episode before, where I talked about, the importance of clarity on where you're going, so then that way you can have congruency in your thoughts and actions on a daily basis. And so, what I'm getting at here is, you're a sovereign being. You are completely whole the way that you are, and you have the right to make decisions and choices that are meant to suit your highest good. And you don't necessarily have to justify that to other people when you know that it is of your highest good, when you know that it is, the best possible thing for you. And when you feel that and you embody that on a daily basis, it puts you in a position where you're really able to, do what's best for you, and you're able to put yourself into a position where you are able to, compound those daily wins day in and day out. And so that puts you in a position where you're able to get more and more out of your life experience. And, coming from, like I said, as a person who, was always so self-sacrificing, and in order to be able to gain love, validation, and acceptance, that came at a heavy tab that I had to pay, in regards to how much time I lost, how much resources and energy, went into the wrong people and the wrong situations, to the point now where it's like I'm very discerning of, where I place my time, where I place my energy. And it's kept, my mental peace in a greater place. It's kept me moving forward in the right direction, feeling like I'm progressing and not getting stuck and stagnant as often in my day-to-day life. And, I'm here to encourage you that, becoming the master of your time is the thing that will ultimately free you. That discipline with your time, the discipline with the energy that you place, in yourself and other people, is really, really important. It's one of the most important things. And, far too often I hear people say, like I mentioned in previous podcasts, I hear people say, oh, I don't have time. Well, if you don't have time, then you don't have anything, because that's all you have. That's all you have. Time is all that you have. It's the only thing, the eternal now, the present moment, here, listening to this podcast. What you're doing with that time and energy is ultimately going to dictate the outcomes you get in your life. It's not the person outside of you. It's not, your job. It's not your boss. It's not, every potential thing that you could place energy on outside of you is not going to dictate the outcomes. It's you and the way that you view your life and where you place your time and energy and how you look at time and how you respect your time and yourself that's going to really dictate what it is you get out of your life experience. And that's, the big thing that I want to share with you is that for, a good majority of my life, 25, 26 years, I was the exact opposite of that, where I was always, filling up my time with things that weren't important, that weren't really pushing the needle forward, that weren't really benefiting and creating impact the way that I desire. And I do believe that everything happens for a perfect reason and sets you up for the things that you're meant to be doing and the experiences that you're meant to be having. So I'm grateful for those experiences, and I don't wish to change them in any way, but I can just tell you confidently that as you develop, as you start to grow, on a physical, mental, and spiritual level, you really get to a point where, you start to see your time and how valuable it is. And I think it's just because I am getting older, and, the biological clock starts to tick as you start heading into your 30s. And I start to see the value of the time that I have, the moments that I have, how I show up in them, how I perform in them, all the things that really matter. Those things are really starting to get magnified at this point. And, that will happen for you as well. But the most important thing is, like, you have to have healthy boundaries first and foremost with yourself, with your time, with your discipline, healthy boundaries with others, make sure you're not being taken advantage of, to make sure that, your relationships are mutually beneficial and there's a mutual energy exchange that's happening inside of those experiences, and that you are, being diligent with your time and you're spending it on things that bring you joy and happiness above all else. I think that's a huge thing. Is so many people, they spend time on things that, don't bring them joy and happiness. They feel like they're obligatory. And I talked about this in the cold plunge tank on my Instagram story today. Is, they're your moments. They're not, the spouse's moments. They're not your children's moments. They're not your boss's moments. They're not your friend's moments. They're your moments that you get to consciously decide, where you place that energy. And if it's in those things, just know that that's awesome. But the importance in all of it is that you're consciously deciding that you want to place your time there, and that you want to place your time in those moments. And obviously, if you have children or a spouse, you have commitments. You made those choices. And I think a lot of people make those choices unconsciously, not really realizing that they're doing it. And as a result of that, they get, 5-10 years down the road and they hate their life, because they're not consciously choosing on a daily basis to do those things and uphold those commitments. They feel like they're an obligation. The things you love, the people that you love, they should never feel like an obligation. They should feel like something that you want to, spend your time and energy and resources into, something that lights you up on the inside. And if it doesn't do that, then I think you really need to take a moment to evaluate your life and ask yourself if it's something that you could, put up with for another year, 10 years, 15, 20 years. And if you can't, then there's no sense in even, wasting a day on it. And this could be a job. This could be, a hobby. This could be a friendship. This could be any number of things it applies to, because we should always be pursuing our joy. We should always be pursuing our happiness above all else. And that comes through a lot of, valuable learning lessons in life. But I can tell you that when you're, every single thing you're doing, you get to the point where you're like, I'm consciously choosing to do this. I'm consciously choosing the podcast today. I'm consciously choosing to get in the cold plunge. I'm consciously choosing, to, work on this part of the business. I'm consciously working on improving my health. I'm consciously working on, becoming more sociable and, finding a partner, or, I'm consciously choosing to show up in, my child's life in this particular way. It's going to give you a lot of power and freedom to know that you are choosing, because so few people, I feel, are actually really, really choosing. And I know for a fact that the people that are getting the most out of their life, they're choosing everything, because they're realizing that they are everything, and that their ability to choose is, what allows them to live an exceptional life. They choose where they spend their time. They choose what and where they eat. They choose who they spend their time with. They choose who they do business with. They choose how they make their money. They're choosing. They're the conscious creators of their reality. And I want to help you get to that place in any way that I can. So I share my life experiences. I have no problem talking about the things that have challenged me, the way that I used to live, to show you as an example that, it wasn't always this way. It wasn't always the person that you're listening to right now. And I still have so much more development to do along the way, as do you. It's a never ending journey towards, more self-actualization. But what I'm getting at is that, I share my life experiences and the things that I've been through to give you a reference point that it doesn't matter who you are right now. It doesn't matter who you were yesterday. There's an opportunity for you to become more on a consistent basis. And as a result of that, you can have more than you currently are, and you can experience more than you currently are right now. And, it's one of those things where it's one of the most beautiful, cathartic, existential life experiences is to watch yourself change right before your eyes. And that's what we're here to do. That's what I'm here to help you with. So I'm going to wrap up today's episode. We'll keep it short today. Just make sure you're, being aware and cognizant of your time and where you're placing it, because you only have so much time. It's the most valuable resource that we all share together, and it's the only thing that you really do have. So make sure that you're spending it in ways that uplift you, bring you joy, and allow you to self-actualize and self-love yourself at the highest capacity possible. And then obviously take what resonated for you in this podcast and actually integrate it into your day-to-day. So then that way you can really get the most out of your human experience, because it doesn't do any good if you just listen to this and then unplug and then go right back into the same predictable program and things that you don't really enjoy, in whatever area that may be. It only works if you integrate, and you're going to do the work, and you doing the work is what's actually going to make you appreciate and value what it is that you're going to experience, at your higher potentials and states, because you know that you did the work. You'll value it at such a high degree because of the amount of time, effort, and energy that was placed into that. And as a result, it's going to really help you squeeze the most out of life and get the most out of this, beautiful human experience that we get to share together. So without further ado, guys, be sure to check us out at www.drinkraveeraide.com. We actually are just launching the brand new website today, actually. So we're going to be doing a bunch of sales and buy one, get ones, and some different stuff that, as a thank you for all of you guys who support what we've been doing for the past year and a half now. So be sure to check that out. We really revamped it just to, have it be super clean, high functionality, as well as just really being user-friendly and having a lot more resources and information about, why we use the ingredients we use in our supplements and everything else and what we stand for here at RAVER AIDE. So without further ado, guys, my name is Tyler Hardy, and as always, I appreciate you guys. Hope you guys have an amazing day. We'll talk soon.